confirmed the leadership of Umar, National Secretary, Chief Oluwagunloye, and the party's 2023 presidential candidate, Prince Adewale Adebayo. However, warned stakeholders and the public to disregard any statement issued by El-Rufai under the SDP banner. In another development, the party's National Executive Committee dissolved the National Working Committee led by the suspended National Chairman, Shehu Gaban, over the lingering crisis rocking the party. The decision was announced at an emergency NEC meeting held in Abuja and presided over by the party's National Financial Secretary, Ibrahim Biu. The new interim leaders announced include Adamu Modibo as National Chairman, Abubakar Dugara as Deputy Chairman, Ekpeyong Ambo for National Secretary, Joseph Abu, National as Organizing Secretary, and Chief Sosuma Osaro, National Legal Advisor. Talking security, troops of the 3 Division and the Operation Safe Haven of the Nigerian Army have rescued a minor during military operations in the Riom area of Plateau State. This was disclosed in a statement on Friday by the spokesman of Operation Safe Haven, Major Samson Zakom. The Army said the boy had since been handed over to the councillor representing Zamko ward in the Langtang North local government area of the state for onward reunification with his family. Zakom said troops acting on credible intelligence of armed bandits sighted along the Kambodoro Road in the Wase local government area laid an ambush near Jeb community. He noted that the operation, which occurred in the early hours of Thursday, saw troops engage the criminals in a firefight, forcing them to flee. In another development, a total of 27 victims who were killed in an attack by gunmen in Riom local government area of Plateau State received mass burial on Friday. It will recall that 27 farmers, including men and women, were killed in the Bindi Jebu community of the council area of the state on July 15 when gunmen attacked the village. The attack also left many people who were sleeping injured, with several rushed to hospitals. Speaking during the mass burial of the victims on Friday, the chairman of Riom local government area, Ature Shua, lamented the spate of attacks on rural communities in the local council. Troops of Operation Adin Kai for the Nigerian Army have arrested 7 suspected logistics suppliers for terrorists during intensified operations across Borno and Adamawa states. The Nigerian Army announced the operations through a statement posted on the official X platform of the Nigerian Army on Friday, stating that it took place between 15 and 22 July 2025. The operations, which focused on disrupting key supply routes and logistics chains used by insurgent groups in the northeast, were carried out in collaboration with the Air Component, Civilian Joint Task Force, and local hunters. The Army added that the troops also conducted successful raids and ambushes in Goza, Kaga, Bama, Manguno, and Kunduga local government areas, neutralizing terrorists and foiling planned attacks. Among the notable arrests was a suspect with unauthorized Starlink equipment and another with large quantities of hard drugs. The military said it also recovered arms, improvised explosive device materials, and communication gear used by insurgents. In Imo State, gunmen on Friday invaded 3 communities of Umualoma, India Kunwata, and Inde Jizie in Arondi Zogu, Idiato North local government area of Imo State, killing at least 7 persons. It was gathered that the gunmen on a motorbike shot locals in Umualoma, India Kwanta, and Indijezi villages, leaving several people dead and several others critically injured. The victims were said to be shop owners, their customers, and passerby. Confirming the incident in a statement on Friday, spokesman of Imo State Police Command, Henry Okoye, said 7 people were killed and several people were injured. Okoye maintains that normalcy had returned to the villages as security operatives had been deployed and tactical teams had launched an intense search for the killers. The Federal High Court sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos State, has convicted a former executive secretary of a national health insurance scheme, Olufemi Thomas, for breaching Nigeria's cash transaction limit law. The court, however, declared him of all money laundering allegations. Delivering judgment, Justice Olayinka Faji acquitted Thomas on 5 of the 6 counts filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, ruling that the prosecution failed to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. The judge held on Thursday that the EFCC admitted during the trial that it did not investigate several claims made by the defendant and had not established that it was unlawfully enriched. Consequently, the court ordered the EFCC to return all funds seized from Thomas within 14 days, subject to his payment of a 10 million naira fine. The fine followed his conviction on count 5, which involved making a cash payment that exceeded the 5 million naira threshold allowed by law. Thomas was ordered to pay a 10 million naira fine in lieu of imprisonment and was barred from traveling abroad until the fine is fully paid. The Director General of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council and the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, Adeniyi Adeyemi, has met with the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, as part of efforts to align policy ambition and legislative reserve. This was contained in a statement by the Presidential Economic Advisory Council on Friday at a strategic closed-door meeting held in the office of the Deputy Speaker at the National Assembly. Adeyemi stressed the urgency of partnership between the legislature and executive as crucial for creating the right environment for investment. He noted that inclusive growth cannot be delivered without policy alignment. On the spot, the Deputy Speaker welcomed the meeting between both agencies and arms of government, describing it as a bridge between national ambition and actionable policy, while reaffirming his readiness to provide legislative backing for initiatives that drive investment, job creation, and long-term growth. You're watching News at 7 on Western Spring Television. Still to come, President Bola Tinubu hosts members of the 1999 class of governors at Presidential Villa in Abuja. We'll bring you more on these when we return.
The British Empire was the largest and the most powerful in the world. At its zenith, the empire embraced a quarter of the earth's land surface and imposed her imperial majesty's rule on more than 458 million peoples across nations and continents. The empire took off with overseas possessions and trading posts established by England, spread over 3 million kilometers between 16th and early 18th century. Like previous empires, the British Empire began to crumble on its weight of overstretched territories and growing unrest in our various colonies. Today, the British Empire no longer exists. What is in place is the Commonwealth of Nations, a loose association of sovereign states which recognize the King of England as the titular head. Western Spring Television identifies the British Empire as a watershed empire in history.
As a player, there's nothing better than the roar of your crowd. But in Nigeria, there's a roar that may not be heard again. With fewer than 50 lions left, they could be extinct in the next few years from loss of habitat and prey and snares set for illegal bushmeat. So please, say no to illegal bushmeat. Let's keep the roar alive for Nigeria, because poaching steals from us all.
Born Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1909, Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues brought his unique attributes to bear on governance in the defunct Western region. He administered as leader of government business and the premier between 1955 and 1958. Obafemi Awolowo's premiership witnessed pioneering in multi-sectoral policy initiatives and execution. The Western region under his administration paraded several enviable records. First television station in Africa, first real estate in Nigeria, first high-rise building in Nigeria, first modern sports stadium in Nigeria, first agricultural settlement in Nigeria, first modern civil service secretariat in Nigeria, and first industrial estate in Nigeria. His face is on 100 naira denomination as a mark of honor for his distinguished services to his country. Western Spring Television identifies Obafemi Awolowo as a major character in history.
Welcome back. This is still news at 7 on Western Spring Television. A reminder of our headline. The presidency has refuted allegations by the 2023 presidential candidate of the new Nigeria People's Party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, that the North has been neglected under President Bola Tinubu's administration. The Social Democratic Party, SDP, has disowned former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, declaring that he is neither a member of the party nor authorized to speak for it or represent it. A total of 27 victims who were killed in an attack by gunmen in Riyam local government area of Plateau State received mass burial on Friday. On the foreign scene, Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry has said 9 people have died of malnutrition in the past 24 hours. President Bola Tinubu on Friday hosted members of the 1999 class of governors at the presidential villa in Abuja. The former governors were led to the State House by former governor of Delta State, James Ibori. Details of the meeting were not disclosed as of the time of filing this report, but the visit is believed to be part of ongoing consultations by the president with key political stakeholders. The special assistant to the president on social media, Dada Olusegun, made this known in the post via his X handle on Friday. The class of 1999 governors who assumed office at the return of democratic rule played significant roles in shaping Nigeria's Fourth Republic politics. President Bola Tinubu has expressed grief over the passing of Ibrahim Bello, the Sarakin Katsina, and Emir of Gusau in Zamfara State. The monarch died on Friday morning at the age of 71. Special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, in a statement said the emir will be remembered for his commitment to the cause of his people. President Tinubu described the traditional ruler's death as a collective loss beyond his immediate domain, citing his lifelong service at different levels. The late emir died after a protracted illness in Abuja. Bello, a civil servant who rose to the highest position of permanent secretary during his service in Old Sokoto and Zamfara State, served for 10 years and a few months. Now to the foreign scene. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry has said 9 people have died of malnutrition in the past 24 hours. A total of 122 people, including 83 children, have died because of a lack of food since the war began, according to the ministry. While Israel says it will allow foreign countries to airdrop aid into Gaza in the coming days. Some airdrops took place last year, but aid groups warned they could not deliver enough aid. In another development, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is considering alternative options to bring hostages home. Meanwhile, British Cabinet Minister and Technology Secretary Peter Kyle said on Friday that Britain supports eventual recognition of a Palestinian state, but the immediate priority should be alleviating the suffering in Gaza and securing a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Successive British governments have said they would formally recognize a Palestinian state at the right time, without ever setting a timetable or specifying the conditions for it to happen. His comments came after French President Emmanuel Macron said France intends to recognize a Palestinian state in September at the UN General Assembly, a plan that drew strong condemnation from Israel and the United States. In a statement on Thursday, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said statehood was the inalienable right of the Palestinian people, reiterating his call for a ceasefire as a necessary step towards achieving a two-state solution. Speaking during a visit to Australia, Foreign Minister David Lammy echoed Starmer's ceasefire call and described the situation in Gaza as indefensible.
You've seen that the Prime Minister today is convening a conversation with German and French counterparts. What we're focused on is what will ease the suffering today. We've been very outspoken about what Israel is doing in Gaza at the moment. They need to pull back, they need to allow aid in, and they've got to provide the space for a political set of discussions that can lead to a ceasefire, and then the ultimate process that will lead to Palestinian statehood. We want Palestinian statehood. We desire it. And we want to make sure the circumstances can exist where that kind of long-term political solution can have the space to evolve and make sure that it can become a permanent circumstance that can bring peace to the entire region. But right now, today, we've got to focus on what will ease the suffering, and if it is extreme, unwarranted suffering in Gaza, that has to be the process.